Hello everyone, how are you? What is this, you ask? Well, I will tell you. My daughter thinks I look better as a Viking, so she decided to braid my beard. It's not quite long enough to do it yet, so she decided the twirls will do for now. And since I'm a good father, this is my new look. There we go. And then soon, when my beard will be longer, I can actually braid it, so it look better. That's life of a single dad right there. So, what is this vlog gonna be about? So today I wanna talk about the Facebook group I just launched, which is just for women's training for different reasons. There are certain subjects that women will not be comfortable talking around men, and that's just a fact. So we started a group that is entirely designed, run by women for women, basically. So all those subjects can be approached in a comfortable way for everyone. And at the same time, it would give me data toward training so we can use it, and then I can share it, not by name, but just share it with the coaches out there that are looking to better the women training at their gym, right? And so the group started, which I'm very happy about, right? And then within that group, soon I'm going to release something I've been working on for a while now, which is a template just for women. I believe men and women have to train differently. And I know it sounds obvious when I say it like this, but I think it goes a little bit further than what most people think. Like, if we look at, for example, at the data for the last 5-7 years, namely the CrossFit Games, what do we see? We see a vast improvement in women, I think greater than anything we've seen before. You have to give credit where credit is due, and changing CrossFit has changed the way training will train, I believe, forever. First of all, look at, just on the psychological effect of it, look at what CrossFit has done for women. It has literally created an entire generation of women that want to be jacked, that want to have more muscle, be muscular, be strong, and train for performance, not just to look good, not just to look toned or anything like that. CrossFit has created an entire really breed of women that want to be jacked and strong, right? That are not afraid of muscle. On the contrary, they want to pack on muscle, and they want to get stronger. And I want to see this continue. I want to see the new generation of lifters, those 14, 15-year-old girls. I want them to understand that muscle is good, being strong is good, and I want them to work toward that goal, right? And so, and CrossFit has changed that forever. If we, and then a very important part of that, I think, is on the strength and conditioning side of things, where I think so far, the world of strength and conditioning has missed the train on this. I'm going to use the sport. So there's CrossFit, the training system, and CrossFit, the sport. Those are two different things, right? But I want to use the sport as a data provider to explain my point here. In the last 5 years, we've seen women go from, I remember like it was 200-pound snatch was considered something ginormous, right? I remember I think it was Lindsay Valenzuela who was one of the first ones to snatch 200. And at the time, it was considered absurd, right? Those were the like national, probably top 2 national level snatch. And that came out of someone who at the time was specializing in CrossFit, no more in Olympic weightlifting. And in the last few years, since then, we're gonna have a 1 rep max snatch at the games, and this is done like a week before. And I bet you we're gonna see at least 20 women snatching 200 pounds. I bet you have to feel snatch 200 pounds. So, and if you guys remember, in 2009, only 8 years ago, that's what Mikko Salo snatched to win the CrossFit Games as a male athlete. So those are incredible numbers. I have a friend, Regan Huckabee, who's part of the CrossFit Game, who qualified this year, and you'll see, she has a 155, 160 kilo back squat, right? She has a 175, 180 kilo deadlift, a 200 kilo, a 90 kilo bench. So those numbers alone will allow her to be top 3, because she weighs at 64 kilos. As a 63 kilo, she would be on the podium at the powerlifting championship, national championship this year with those numbers. And then there's basically probably 15 other women at the CrossFit Games that have numbers that are almost as high as that. And some of the women are actually stronger, a bit heavier, but than that, those are massive numbers. That would give you top 3 at a national powerlifting competition in about every country on earth, outside of Russia, but for different reasons. But and then on top of that, so she has national powerlifting numbers, right? On top of that, she's going to go into a 120 kilo clean and jerk, probably a 90 kilo snatch, if not over. So those are also national numbers in Olympic weightlifting, right? And then we see that on many levels, like Maddie Myers, like the CrossFit women rule Olympic weightlifting in the States, and they could rule powerlifting and decided to compete in it. So, and they do that without training for it, right? They're doing that while training for conditioning, while training to run a 5K under 20 minutes, while doing 5-something minute mile, 40 pull-ups, and then handstand push-ups and all the stuff. So those are incredible numbers that are being achieved with that a training system based for strength. So in that sense alone, CrossFit has revolutionized strength and conditioning, because it shows you that, first of all, you don't have to be fat to be strong, which is important. And then that volume is the key to women's training. So one of the main problems you have, like you see, I've seen that a lot happening, where women get strong through CrossFit. They decide they want to get stronger. They much rather lift heavy. So they go toward powerlifting, Olympic weightlifting, fall into a men's program, and then their progress starts to stall. And eventually they get hurt, and then they start to coming back down. And one of the main problems is that the men's programs are not designed for women. It doesn't work like that for women. So women need the volume of training, which is something the Chinese know very well. Like the Chinese Olympic weightlifter, so the Beijing Center, train 30% higher volume than the men. So the strength and conditioning world, we all need to understand that women need a much greater volume of training than men. So the problem started with, if you take like a 90% of your 1 rep max, right? Men can do about 5 reps, right? And then so we calculated that 100% based on that was you add 10% more or less, and then you get from 5 reps to 1 rep, and then programs were built like that. The problem is at 90%, women usually can go 8 to 10 reps. So if you calculate your 1 rep max based on that 8 to 10 reps, women end up at a very low number comparatively to men, because they are at 90%. Right, for 8 to 10 reps. And so in that sense, women are weaker than men, if that makes sense, from a number perspective, right? But at 90%, women would kill men. So it doesn't quite work like that. And so if you fall into a program designed for men, then you're gonna end up with higher percentages of weight, lower volume, and then progress will stall. And so that's why it's very, very important to analyze the data CrossFit provided us, and see that women need a greater volume of work. And so through sets, they need the conditioning. So they need high volumes of set, conditioning. And women also are built for external torque on certain levels. So if you're not familiar with the concept, you have to see all my videos or come to a seminar, because this is something I talk about all the time, is also like women flourish through external torque. They are built for that. If we look at the muscle responsible for external torque, women, and you look, for example, at the CrossFit Games, you will see women very developed in those areas, but they are not developed necessarily areas for internal torque. So that creates its own system. The problem is men are developed for internal torque, whereas women are developed for external torque. And that has its own effect on the nervous system, sympathetic versus parasympathetic nervous system. So there are a number of things that are different between men and women. Literally, they are opposite. Women are built for external torque and sympathetic nervous system, whereas men are more for internal torque and parasympathetic nervous system. So all this plays within the arch, right, to maintain as much tension as possible between the two. But that means we have to approach training women in a much different way than we approach training men. And I think this is something CrossFit has proven. And so this is why I will release the template for Olympic weightlifting, powerlifting, and CrossFit for women. That will be geared toward them, not men, but more toward women. And it will be toward more conditioning and volume, no matter what sport you're in, right? Because, and I think that's very necessary. And then the Facebook group will also allow me to get the data out of all this. So all the women that will do my template, they can post the results on the group, on the Facebook group, and we'll be able to gather data so that we can get to better training for women, designed for women that will get better training for women. And so that's one of the many reasons I wanted to start the group, right? The group, but a different training for women is one of the main reasons. We need to train women differently, and I will start the templates in that sense, and then so we can gather the data, and months after months after months get better at it and progress women's training. And then hopefully from there we can also help the younger lifters, right? And continue the fight toward that the CrossFit started, toward making women better. But no matter what, there has to be a change between how we train men and how we train women. We cannot use the men's system to train women. That there has to be a change there, right? And so we're gonna do our best to go in that direction. Cool. Thank you everybody, and talk to you soon.